Hello and welcome to our first episode of Startup Mavericks, the good, the bad and the lessons. My name is Constantin Schmutzler, or Tino, and I'm the founder of Berlin Startup School, and I'm happy to host this podcast with our startups here. And it's mainly about talking to you guys, so the startups in our different programs, and on the other hand, to a coach about the same topic. Yeah, because we want to have different perspectives on different things about the early stage startup struggles and how you can overcome them. Yeah? And today I have the honor to welcome you, Larissa and Philip. And I would like you to quickly introduce yourself and the startup which you're working on. Philip.
Thanks, Tino. It's great to be here on this beautiful day. My name is Philip, and I'm very happy to be part of the startup school here. Larissa and I are founding Soundvest. Maybe a little bit about myself. I'm a cellist, actually, and I've been playing the cello for many, many years. At the same time, I worked for the E01 and many other startups, always building biz dev and sales teams. And we came across this idea, the problem actually for Soundvest a couple of many months ago actually, and it's a big problem for musicians, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But it's an exciting problem and opportunity at the same time. So that's a little bit about myself.
Hi guys, I'm Larissa. Sorry. Hi guys, I'm Larissa, and I'm also very happy to attend this podcast. I'm a lawyer, I'm 25, and I studied law in Göttingen, and I just moved to Berlin this January, and I'm also very happy to be part of this Berlin Startup School, a really nice setup, and we already learned a lot in the past few months and met a lot of cool people, so I'm really excited what will be coming in the next month. And I'm also a violinist. I played the violin for 7 years, but it's further down the road. I stopped it during my studies. I was really occupied, but I always love to attend to classical music concerts. It's really calming, really relaxing, and it's just magic what this music can do with you.
True. Did you know, fun fact, that I was singing in the opera many, many years ago. Yeah, in the choir of the teenagers. I don't know what you call this exactly, so it was pretty cool. But anyway, it's not about me today, yeah? Yeah, true. Next community event will be only about karaoke, yeah? So, Larissa, how would you describe the idea that you're working on?
Soundvest is about like a digital rent-to-own platform for classical music instruments. We discovered the problem that young musicians have the problem to finance their own classical music instrument, and either they are funded by their family or friends, or they need to apply to certain scholarships, which is really hard to get. So there's this urgent problem for the young musicians, and on the same time, this classical music instruments are a good asset, which we discovered, and we want to open this market for the public people and public investors. And they get a solid yield for it, a solid dividend, and it's also insured, so they cannot lose their investment, and also they take part in purposeful investment, which is also like a big trend. And this is why I love the vision of Soundvest.
Anything to add there, Philip? Because you are actually the one who came up with the idea, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was perfect. Just to add that many of my friends who went on to become successful professional musicians, they all shared exactly this problem. We talk to now musicians also globally. So it's a big problem and not yet a scalable solution. So really happy to be part of the school here to really build it. And so far it's looking really, really good.
I remember that you have originally applied with another co-founder for the Accelerator. Now, or let's say during the process of application, then you changed your co-founder. Maybe you can tell me, Philip, how come that you changed, first of all? And how easy was it to find a replacement, or how difficult?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think so. Yeah, maybe just to give a little bit of context. So Eileen and I started working on Soundvest together, and then
You're your former co-founder,
exactly,
planned co-founder.
Exactly. And we also applied together to late last year. We applied together for the Berlin Startup School, but then of course you can't plan everything. And what happened was that a family tragedy actually happened in Eileen's family, so she had to take over the family business, and that coincided exactly with the start of the Berlin Startup School scholarship. And at the same time, Larissa and I met late last year as well. And maybe Larissa can share a little bit about it as well, because that was a great event where we met. And during that time, it came clear that that Eileen and I can't work together for 100% full time. So then when we started with the Berlin Startup School, shortly before, Larissa and I could really agree on how and when we're gonna work together. And so far, it's been amazing to work together. Eileen is still advising, and when she finds the time, which is super valuable. But yeah, we worked. Larissa and I are a very good team, and I think it's also maybe one challenge of the startup, the very early startup journey, right? That of course things happen. And you have to be very flexible and resourceful, and I mean the team is the most important thing in the beginning. So if things happen there and folks have to move on, etc., then that can be the death of a startup, right? Of an idea.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's just a few months that you worked together. So Larissa, where have you met? Was it at the opera? Or?
It's a good question. No, it was not at the opera. We met digitally on a digital co-founder and founder meetup from Mentor Me Berlin in cooperation with female founders from Heike Gäbler, which is like an awesome program for female mentorship and founders. And I attend the program for like the past 2 years, and they helped me a lot with many things and also networking. That's why I love to attend this event. Philip applied for the founder part and presented his idea of Soundvest. And myself, I presented myself as a potential co-founder. And everyone could afterwards get in touch in breakout rooms. And that's what we did. And then we connected on LinkedIn and texted a bit. Then we made up a new meet, and like where we meet in a little Teams meet. And we just discussed about things and get in touch also personally with co-founder questions, and try to really focus on the topic that we could be potential co-founders. And because I already had expertise from a past startup where I worked 1.5 years, I really got used to like what's important for a young team, what are the core values, and what's important for the personalities, how they interact with each other. And I think both of us are really reflective and dig deep easily, and not only on the surface level. So we got along very easily, and then we already started working remotely to the topic of Soundvest. And then in December we met personally here in Berlin, and then we talked about being more precise about working together, and then we just moved on, and now we're here.
Before we dig deeper into that, I'm really happy to introduce you to a really, really special section in this podcast. This section is called either or. So I am asking you a question, or let's say two different terms, and you will have to choose one of them. Okay? It's a quick and short format, 5 questions. Okay? Ready? Yes. Good. Philip, first question. Stopping to play music or stop working on the startup?
Wow, that's a hard question. That's hard. I tried to find a way out of this, how to combine it, but this is really hard. Yeah. I try not to say both,
Do it. Choose one fast.
Stop working on the startup.
Okay. Larissa, Webflow or WordPress?
WordPress, definitely.
Philip, 4 or 5 day work week?
4.5.
Larissa, partnership or competition?
Partnership.
And last but not least, Philip, opera or techno club?
The opera and the techno club, or vice versa. So it actually exists. There's a cool program that does that.
Thank you so much. So, was there anything you disagreed with your co-founder?
No, I didn't. No, I don't.
No, everything.
I don't know. Maybe for the play music or keep working
on the startup.
I would decide for the startup.
Okay, that's perfect. So I can play music
collaboration. And because we are so close, like we deal with music from day to night, so. Music will not disappear when we work on it.
That's probably how I wanted to phrase it, because I mean, for me, music is sort of the most important thing that makes the startup sort of amplifies music. But
Okay, but I mean, it's totally fine. It does not sound like a big conflict here, to be honest. But what I'm curious of is the choice between Webflow or WordPress. Larissa, can you give us just a quick insight why you have a preference there when it comes to, I think we're talking about the prototype, of course?
I mean, I just had experience myself with WordPress, and I'm really impressed about what you could do with this, because a good friend of mine, which is a web developer, helped me creating my website for all of my creative subjects and also for the past startup. And I'm really I like the outcome of it, and for WordPress, I don't like that it's like a monthly fee.
Webflow, you mean?
For Webflow, I don't like that it's a monthly fee, for example, and that it seems like you can do it yourself, but then it comes out that you need several hours to get into the topic, and you just get confused. And this is why I don't like it, because for WordPress, you know that you need to do everything from scratch, but you also have a lot of possibilities, and it's open source. So I definitely would choose WordPress.
Philip, any additions there, or is this the first conflict maybe?
We started our first our landing page on Webflow, and we built it ourselves. And of course, like it needs expertise, of course, to build. But I don't disagree.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. Coming back to your team, because this is something where I'd love to dig a little bit deeper. Larissa, you also mentioned that you have looked at different fields and where you have, different points of views on that. Was there a certain structure? Were there certain questions? Was this a template that you used, or was this just randomly discussing the idea and your personalities?
We used officially co-founder questions from a website
from the Founder Institutes.
Okay. Maybe we can sort of also link these questions somewhere.
And they really dig deep quickly. So you need to be an open-minded and reflective person to work with those questions actually. And Philip asked me if it would be suitable, and I looked at them and I really liked those kind of questions. And we discussed about it, and you really get along very easily, and it worked really good for us.
And then Philip, you just said, okay, it looks fine, or you both agreed, and then you just jumped on it? Or was there also a certain concept that you're following? I don't know. I know, for example, startups that then work on a specific project first for a specific time frame, and then they review everything and then decide whether they would like to continue. Was this the same concept, or did you just just go for it?
Yeah, so that was a similar concept. Yeah, so we had the co-founder questions by the Founder Institute that gave us sort of the structure, and at the same time we were running some work examples together. So just to see, we did some survey outreach, customer experience research basically together, and just to see how we would be working together. And both
so it was project based then. You said, okay, let's start with research first, let's see how we work together, exactly. And afterwards we decide.
Exactly.
Okay. Time frame also related, so also.
That was a month or 6 weeks, and of course then the start of the Berlin Startup School happened. So we exactly of the Accelerator. So we jumped on it, and I think that was helpful because it gave us also the external structure, so that there's a great program, the Accelerator, starting. Yeah. So we have to make a decision by then, because I think you can, of course, test your co-founder forever, basically. I mean, so it helps if you have like a certain structure, also in terms of time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 6-month program in which you're in, right? That has a certain structure, that goes through certain steps. It's a good opportunity. And Larissa, as you also know, of course, as a founder in this program, the Accelerator grants you a certain scholarship. So it is related to money that you receive. You don't have to give away any shares. But I'm also interested in whatever you did before, and how easy or hard, Larissa, was it for you to decide to jump on the startup idea now and to leave everything behind? Why maybe Philip had these thoughts already before?
That's also a very good question. It was actually the perfect timing for me. It's just crazy how smooth everything just unfolded in the past of 2022. It's really crazy because I was working in another startup, as I mentioned before, which was in the tech field, and sometimes the tech part gets delayed and stuff like that. And also, like in a young firm, there are also struggles which appear sometimes like really quickly, and this is what happened. So I was like also looking for alternatives at that time, so that's why I also attended to that networking event actually. And so I got some experience, and I also lived in quite a small city, which like Göttingen, which where I studied and where I lived for 6 years, and I really enjoyed the time there. But I also felt like, okay, I'm in my mid-20s now. If I want to move, I need to move now, because I don't want to settle in that little city forever. So it was the perfect timing. And I'm really trust my intuition. So when I feel a certain warm and trustful feeling, I just go with the flow. And that's why I just decided shortly before Christmas, I just moved to Berlin. I'm young, I have nothing to lose. And like everything unfolded also very quickly. Through my mentorship program, I found a subland, and like I'm really good settled here in Berlin now.
That's good. One last really important topic. I just want you to give a quick impression about that one. So Philip, you came up with this idea. Larissa, you then joined more or less as a co-founder. Did you then set up any contracts between yourselves, or Philip, do you trust the process?
I do trust the process. And I think we came to a really good also agreement in terms of contractual stuff, which is of course also really important to talk about. And I mean, we do follow vesting schedules, for instance.
So Larissa, in this case, or also you? No, I guess you have a certain amount of shares from the beginning, and if Larissa stays for some time, she gets more and more shares.
So that's we still have to actually discuss that part, because I mean, the startup idea is important, right? But more important is how you execute it, and so we also split equally there.
Shares, you mean?
Exactly. So
with the long term, so with this vesting option, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that, of course, is. I think there are also very good arguments that both co-founders follow that vesting schedule, because you want to preserve the health of the company. I mean, you can't look in the future. Yes. We don't see any big conflicts there, but so that you that you preserve the company, whatever happens, and so that's also an idea we're following.
Sounds absolutely familiar to me, because that's what I feel is a really good way to deal with, right? So no matter who has the idea, if you have found a co-founder, try to work with them on a project-based time. If they're not like the ones who also gave the idea, then give them the opportunity to become integral part of this idea, not only given like 5 to 10%, because Philip, right, as you said, nobody cares about the shares in the very end. Yeah, you're still far away from being successful. So please don't argue whether it's 5% more or less. In the best case, make it equal, no matter who had the idea. And yes, vesting, so giving more and more shares by time to a co-founder that was on board, for example, later, is also a good idea to show commitment in the long term and to make it successful together, right? And not thinking, hey, how much shares or money might I make later on? Thank you so much for joining for this first episode. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
It was really fun, and I hope to be back soon.
Yeah, we hope so too. Good luck. Cheers.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.